I've covered a lot of contests MTV did back in the 80s, and we're going to be talking about another one in today's video. But while the contest winners in most of these stories had a lot to celebrate, that wasn't always the case. In fact, the winner of today's contest we're going to discuss wished he had handled things differently looking back. Stay tuned for the full story. In 1989, to celebrate the release of the new Batman movie starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, MTV ran a contest called Steal the Batmobile. Here's a promo the network ran.
Do you have the guts to steal the Batmobile? Find out Sunday between 6 and 8 p.m., 5 and 7 Central, when you see the MTV logo transform into the Batmobile. Call the 900 number on the screen immediately. The Batmobile and $25,000 in cash could be all yours, courtesy of MTV.
The contest winner would be a 23-year-old bartender from Richmond, Virginia named Patrick McLynn. McLynn didn't own a car at the time, choosing to get around by skateboard and bike. One night he was watching MTV at a friend's house when the word Batman flashed on screen during a Prince video, which was tied into the movie. Also appearing on screen was a phone number. McLynn would tell UPI.com that he called the number about 20 times before he connected with an operator who took down his information. The operator would tell McLynn that he would receive a call back the following morning, but he didn't hear anything, so he went back to sleep. Then the following day at noon, he got the call that he had won the contest. Richmond Magazine would report that MTV received upwards of 1 million calls for the contest. After he was told he was the winner, McLynn started phoning friends and the local news channel WTVR, but nobody believed him. McLynn would tell UPI.com, "I grew up with Batman, I've always liked the stories and the art," and he himself was an avid comic book collector and had dreams of attending art school. It would turn out that the Batmobile he would be awarded wouldn't have an engine in it, as it was simply a replica of the car that was used in the movie. McLynn would tell UPI that he was thinking of putting an engine in the Batmobile, but he would add telling the paper, "But I don't think I could get it insured for the road," he'd say. Meanwhile, he would tell Richmond Magazine, "The steering wheel worked, the brakes worked, the dials were in the cockpit, but it didn't have an engine. You couldn't open the hood. The entire body had to be lifted up to work inside it. It was a prop. You have to think of it like a big go-kart," he'd say. Shortly after winning the contest, McLynn and his uncle, who worked at the same restaurant, tried to come up with ways to make money off the car. One idea that the pair were floating was to bring the Batmobile to state fairs, but it had turned out that McLynn had signed a contract as part of winning the MTV contest saying he couldn't display the car for money. However, the Science Museum of Virginia would end up putting the Batmobile on display and ask for donations. It was during that time someone stole the shift lever as well. Shortly after he got the car in his possession, McLynn would claim that he'd already heard from several people who were interested in buying the car off of him, but the people at MTV suggested that he hold on to the car for a little while longer. The nearly 20-foot-long Batmobile allegedly cost $60,000, and according to Richmond Magazine, and I quote, was custom built on an extended Chevrolet Impala wheelbase by Hollywood Productions, the company that made the movie's Batmobiles. The company provided a plaque for McLynn's Batmobile attesting that it was a replica, but McLynn himself was suspicious, thinking it was used in the movie and that the company was merely saying it was a replica to lower its resale value, telling Richmond Magazine, "I mean, it was made from a handmade metal frame, handmade fiberglass with 8 layers of lacquer. Why would you go through all that effort and not use it," he'd say. Then on June 23, 1989, the Batman movie would premiere at the local Ridge Cinema, and it was estimated that about 800 people showed up to see McLynn receive a $25,000 prop check in the theater's parking lot from actor Robert Wuhl, who played reporter Alexander Knox in the film. After the presentation, McLynn would head into the theater and introduce the movie. The bartender was planning on using some of his prize money to buy a motorcycle and visit some friends in the eastern US, in addition to help paying tuition to attend art school in the near future. McLynn would end up buying that motorcycle, but it would be wrecked a few years later in an accident. Things would take a strange turn when the fabricators of the Batmobile, Hollywood Productions, suddenly wanted their car back. McLynn would tell the New York Post, "I met 3 guys who had built the car in a motel room near the movie theater in Richmond, Virginia, where Robert Wuhl was going to present it to me. They told me they were willing to get the publicity and then buy the car back. They offered to throw in a Corvette. He wouldn't end up taking the deal," telling the Post, "It felt like something out of American Hustle." Richmond Magazine would also report that in addition to the Corvette that was offered, Hollywood Productions offered him $50,000 cash, but McLynn was hoping to sell the car for around $125,000 to $330,000 at the time, but it didn't work out that way. McLynn would end up regretting not taking the deal. Of course, the IRS was soon on his case, with McLynn telling the Post, "They came after me for tax evasion." He would end up owing the US government around $70,000 in taxes on his winnings, and in the years that followed, McLean would store the car in warehouses around town, with him telling the New York Post, "My friends and I would go to the Batmobile after work and sit inside, drinking Irish whiskey and smoking joints." Then in 2003, he finally sold the vehicle for a little over $100,000, telling Richmond Magazine, "I sold it for not a lot of money, but enough to settle my taxes and get everything straightened out." The only memory he had of the car after selling it were some photos that he would display at a restaurant that he was now the co-owner of as of 2005, called the Metro Grill. The New York Post would report that as of 2019, he was still living in Virginia and was now working as a technician for movies. 30 years after the contest, he felt bittersweet about winning, revealing, "How many people can say they owned a Batmobile? It became a burden to me. I offered the Batmobile to the IRS, but they didn't want it," he'd say. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe. We'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.